What up, you lab rats? This is episode number 129. Woo! Happy Sunday. And today we're going to continue our discussion of Primal Branding by Patrick Hanlon, talking about the Primal Destination. Stay tuned. Hey, welcome back to the lab, your daily inspiration for creating better content. So, the Primal Branding book, right? We're almost at the end, guys, and I think we're really kind of summing up. These are now becoming stories. We got the code in the first 10 or 7 chapters of this book. What was it? 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 facets of the code earlier in this book, which you can check out in the playlist below. They're all laid out for you. Nicely organized. You're welcome. Okay, so the Primal Destination. Okay, so basically, Hanlon talks about the code being used in various ways. You know, we can use it to build a community online. We can use it to run a successful computer company. We can really basically use it to activate any sort of movement or emotion and make something very, very massively, virally successful. Okay, so here in the Primal Destination, Hanlon talks about Times Square specifically in this first part. He talks about other things too, but I think this is a very good example as far as using the code in promoting a destination like Times Square. So Times Square started out as this very, yes, it was a go-to destination. And then somewhere along the 1950s to about 1990, it became this really, really dirty, disgusting, disreputable place where there was sex shops everywhere and whorehouses and just all kinds of illegitimate things. Okay. So Mayor Giuliani at the time, at around 1990, started to clean it up. And so he started to actually, I don't know if it was conscious or unconscious, but unconsciously use facets of the Primal Code to turn this thing around and turn it into what it is now today, which is this hotspot for millions of people all over the world, and certainly a destination to check off your list if you're a travel bug. Want to say that Kevin and I went to Times Square, and it was friggin' amazing. I got to tell you, out of all the sites in New York, because there are many of them, definitely Times Square tops that list. I mean, you've got to see Times Square with all the neon lights and that big what you call that? Like this red staircase where the Glee kids were singing on. That's where we saw Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. And it's just an amazing place. And why is it amazing? And he goes on to tell you that even though it was this very disreputable place for such a very long time, using specific parts of the Primal Code, being that he started to build community. He started to build community and handshaking the people who were actually living there, helping out the homeless, turning that place around, and really digging deep into the primal roots of that destination. And so slowly they began to get press releases out for this place. They started to host democratic parties, and what else? Started to that's where the what do you call that? Where the ball drops and all that stuff. So they started to make it an event and this place to be. And so when people started to see that it was something to pay attention to, that it was in fact turning around, it was becoming this new and refreshed thing, it started to gain a momentum. And with that momentum, they kept hitting on these very important facets of building community, building relationships, something that's very much a part of what the Primal Code is all about. And now they've turned it into one of the most sought out destinations in the world. And they understand how that works. And so being that they know how that works, they're probably going to keep that going for a very long time. And then Hanlon goes on to say that, well, now that we have a sort of template for making a destination a sort of hotspot, we can replicate that, right? So other people have seen how Times Square has turned around. and how it has, how it was awesome and it fell and then it turned around. Now they know that they can replicate that process. And so now we're seeing this thing like the eighth wonder of the world, this island that's shaped in the shape of a palm tree. And so they're hitting all the marks. And so while it's not the go-to place right now, it very much is on the path to becoming this go-to place. So what can you and I learn from this little story about Times Square? Well, no matter where you are in your brand or your business, you can turn it around by activating certain parts of the Primal Code. And no matter what part you choose, you want to be able to use these kind of in unison, all for this goal of creating community, a sense of belonging with your brand, your business, your destination, your event, or whatever. So how am I using this information? Well, after I read this very, very quickly, and I sort of read in a very weird way to sort of prep for these episodes to kind of give you guys behind the scenes, which is like I'll scan it very, very quickly and see where the, important information is to give to you guys, which is great because I would not read this otherwise. Seriously, if I didn't have a show to be accountable for and to tell you guys about primal branding and about what he's talking about, I'd be like, nah, it's too long. There's no pictures. And so it's really great, guys. I'm really thanking for the amount of listeners and watchers that we have for the Sunday show, even though it's on Sunday. I really appreciate it because it makes me smarter in my own business and keeps me accountable to read shit that's good for me, even though I may not feel like it most of the time. So thank you. But yeah, anyway, how I'm going to use this information in what I'm doing currently. I'm holding an event on June 6th, 2015, and it's here in downtown Fullerton. And so I need to remember how to maintain a sense of belonging, a sense of community within the people who have actually signed up and the people who are thinking about signing up. So instead of being a lazy ass like I've been for the past week, because I'm just going to blame it on the weather, okay? I'm just going to blame it on the weather because it's been all droopy and sad and it makes me feel like I can't do anything. Anyway, being with that said, okay, I need to create a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and garnish that relationship and cherish that relationship for what it is. So I want to urge you, Lab Rats, to really remember that whatever you're trying to build and build a movement behind, whether it's simply vlogging, where it's if it's selling a high stakes product or whatever, you need to create a sense of community. Community by far is going to take you in the long run. I remember signing up for B School, and the number one thing that people say about B School, which is Marie Forleo's program, arguably helpful or not, is the community. They love the community. I love the community. That's definitely the highest selling point for me for that program. Not the program itself, but for the community. And that's not a diss to the program, but I'm just saying, okay? So community is very, very powerful. So if you can create that in what you're doing, you got a winner, okay? So good things, guys. And I hope you got a lot out of that. Leave a like on this video if you did like it. And you can always join the conversation in the comments. So being that we just went over this chapter of the Primal Destination, what's one destination that you can share with me where you were like, oh my God, this is the place? Or maybe you guys have been to New York or Times Square, and tell me about your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Okay, so good things. We'll see you next time. Once again, my name is Megan, reminding you to get in the lab. We'll see ya. Peace. Hey guys, thanks for sticking all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. If you like this episode and you want to see more of this face, then you can go to getinthelab.me/join to get on my newsletter list. You will get one email newsletter every Wednesday talking about whatever's going around here, promotions, giveaways, workshops. I share things on there that I don't share anywhere else. So I hope to see you in the list. All right. So good things, guys. And we'll see you next time. Peace.